What's up, nerds? It's your boy, still fighting off this post-rain crud. It's the 6th day of April 2023, which means it's the first night of Passover. Happy Pesach. Shana Tova. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. It is April 2023. It is the 6th day. It looks like to be about 50, 56, maybe even 60 something. It looks to be a very lovely spring morning. Unfortunately, I'm still kind of sick. So, yeah. So, remember yesterday when Jeremy Crawford and his infinite wisdom came forward with the statement about why half-elves aren't in 1 D&D, future D&D anymore. And it's because the idea of two races falling in love, getting together, and having a baby is inherently racist. Ellrond Half-elven, inherently racist. Tanis Half-elven, inherently racist. The Lay of Baron and Luthien, inherently racist. Every half-elf and half-orc that has ever appeared in any Dungeons & Dragons product from day one to today, inherently racist. But you know what's not inherently racist is mermaids or chimeras or griffins or tieflings or any other, or in real world, ligers, mules. Okay, so I don't even, so either they are or they're not. If two species get together and have a baby, like, I don't know, a mule, it either is inherently racist or it's not. But basically it breaks down, if you call somebody half something, that's racist, according to Jeremy Crawford. Calling a half-elf half-elf and having a stat block that specifically says half-elf or half-orc is inherently racist, which is why we got rid of them and replaced them with these things. Ancestries, like Drow lineage, High Elf, Drow, and Wood Elf lineage. Now, since then, of course, he has waffled on the statement after he received way more backlash than I think he expected, which seems to be the running theme coming out of the D&D conference held, is that the amount of backlash and the amount of questions and the amount of responses that they are getting is way more than they expected or had planned. I guess they expected to just vomit out their 3-hour-long whatever, and people would happily eat their free muffins and walk out without asking any questions or feeling any level of, wait a minute, what the fuck? But as we're hearing more and more reports, it is obvious that that's not that happened. The latest report is there was a half an hour talk that ended up lasting almost 3 hours because the attendees were so upset and so demanding of actual answers from Wizards of the Coast. So again, in his infinite wisdom, after making his statement yesterday or the day before, he has since come forward and said, no. That's not what I meant. There's no stat block anymore for half-elf. Elf still in here. See, here's elf. It's still in here. Tells where they came from. It tells their lineages. It tells the traits. Dark vision, elven lineage, fey ancestry, keen senses, trance. Then you can pick which lineage you want, like Drow, and you get this thingy, or you pick half elf and you get this thingy, and you get wood elf, or you pick this thingy. And then we have the information about the different Drow that are going to be in the first book, but there'll be more Drow in future books and more elves in future books. Don't worry. But starting player's handbook will have at least these three, maybe more. What it won't have is the ancestry of half elf. But apparently, that doesn't mean, according to him, you can't be half-elf. Because, mathematically, the only reason I guess people chose half-elves before was for the stat block, was for that extra feat and that ability to put a +2 wherever you wanted and to get the best of both worlds. I don't remember what half-elves got in 5e, but I know they got some bonuses. They got the infravision. They got the resistance to charm and sleep. They got a stat bonus. They got a proficiency bonus. You know, they got a, you know, and same with half-orcs. Half-orcs got a thingy, and they got the rage, and they got the ability to keep going after 0 hit points. You know, basically, I guess Crawford is thinking, well, the only, since we're removing stat blocks and replacing them with backgrounds, and no race has any inherent special abilities anymore, except, of course, they do have inherent special abilities. Orcs, you notice, only have 1 ancestry, while tieflings and everybody else have 2 or 3 or 4. So there's only 1 type of orc, but there's, 3 or more type of dwarves and stuff like that. Because I guess there's more better orcs, gnomes than there are orcs. I'm sure that's not, you know, a thing. I'm sure we will get more orc types as the game progresses. So everybody should have 3. And then you go to your background and you pick your background, and that's where your stat bonus comes from. So if our elf then went to be an alkalite, that's where they get their +2 wisdom and their +2 intelligence. But, you know, and the elf still has the elf abilities. You know, we've got still got the dark vision, still got the ability to resist charm and sleep, still got the bonus on proficiency. Then I can, you know, let's say I take a high elf, and I can take then this prestidigitation, and I get a bonus spell at 3rd and 5th level. Half elf not in there anymore because half elves are never in your laces. But apparently somewhere in here it says you can still be a half thing. Now, I'm trying to find where it says that, but it still says here they're still called race. They haven't changed it to feet yet. I mean, species yet. But somewhere, according to what Crawford said, he's not saying you can't be a half-elf anymore. He's just saying there's no stat block. So here we go. Humanoids of different kinds sometimes have children together. For example, folk who have a human parent and an orc, or an elf parent, or particularly common. Many other combinations are possible. So if you'd like to play the child of such a wondrous pairing, choose 2 race options that are humanoid to represent your parents. Then determine which of those race options provides your game traits, size, speed, and special traits. You can then mix and match visual characteristics, color, ear shape, and the like of the 2 options. For example, if your character has a halfling and a gnome parent, you might choose halfling for your game traits. To the side, your character has the pointed ears that are characteristic of a gnome. Finally, determine the average of the 2 options' lifespans. Basically, everybody lives 100 years anyways. So you could still be a half-elf. You just pick the best thing from human and the best thing from elf. So you get 1 of each. So obviously, if I want to be a half-elf, I want to get the best thing from human, which is, I guess, the proficiency or a skill. The extra feat's always good. So I guess I take that. And then I want to get the best thing from an elf. So what's the best thing from an elf? I guess, I don't know. I mean, dark vision's pretty good. The advantage on charm is pretty good. The proficiency in perception is pretty good. Not being able to be put to sleep is pretty good. I mean, the whole advantage of being a half-elf was, first, I was officially called a half-elf, and second, I had a utility belt, but now I can pick one. And I can look like whatever I want. So I could have big deedlit ears, but other than that, I can look like a normal human. Or dwarf, I guess. So yeah. Technically, yes, you can be half-elf, or quarter-elf, or 16th elf, or 32 elf. And then I guess if you're third, if you've got 3, then you can pick like 1 ability from 3 different races. And if you've got 4, then you can pick 1 ability from 4 different races. And it doesn't matter because the stat block doesn't come from your race anymore. It comes from your background. So we're not being racist by saying half-elves are inherently racist. We're not saying that, the product of 2 people getting together and getting on and having a baby that's half Hispanic and half German. No, that's racist, but we're not saying it's racist anymore. We're just not putting the stat block in the book. You could still be 1/3 elf, 1/3 carrot, 1/3 dwarf, 1/3 human, And then but you can only get 2 abilities from each, but it doesn't worry about that because, everybody lives 100 years now and you're going to get your stat bonuses from your background anyways. So really, we're not being racist by saying the product of 2 species having a baby is inherently racist. We're just saying calling somebody half Hispanic and half Japanese, well, that's racist. But you can still say I'm half elf. You just don't get any special thingies for half elf. You get to pick one human trait and one health trait. And then you could just call yourself whatever you want. You could call yourself Tanis half elven. You could call yourself Tanis 3/4 elven. You could call yourself Tanis half human. You could call yourself Tanis half carrot. You could call yourself Tanis Smith. It doesn't matter because it's not in the book anymore. You're just wearing a half elf costume now. And that costume happens to come with one half elf ability, like infravision. So now I get infravision and I get the free feet. But I'm not a half elf. Well, what am I? I just call myself whatever I want, right? Because the half elves isn't there. So I'm going to call myself, I don't know, Mule, Mutt, Labradoodle, Liger, Canis Liger. I don't know. Let's see if they've made it any clearer when they updated the species thing. So now we get to the point where they change race to species because race is racist, but species isn't. Nope. Nothing here. Nope. This is still when Ardling were around. Remember, Ardling are gone now. They have changed as of this. Dragonborn are no longer half dragon, half human. Apparently, they just hatched from an egg as a bipedal dragon-like humanoid. No explanation where that came from. And Goliaths, they're not half giant anymore. They're just somehow descended from giants. They're just really short giants. We don't really know how, because obviously there wasn't any half giant, half human loving going on. So you just sort of appear. I don't know. And Ardlings are gone completely, but Tieflings are still here. So yeah, I guess Tieflings no longer the product of a devil and a human getting it on. Now they just sort of appear. And if you wanted to be half tiefling, half human, you could look like whatever you want. I don't know. I guess you can still call yourself half elf. There's just no half elf. But we're not being racist. Thank you, Crawford, for continuing to turn something that could have been simple into yet another disaster. As usual with Wizards of the Coast, there was probably a way better way to make that statement without coming across as an idiot. But you didn't. So now we are left to pick up the pieces and take the slings of arrows, trying to translate Crawford's speech into normal speak. But that's okay, because remember, Wizards of the Coast is going to provide us with mental health options for all of us who are going to receive the multi-levels of harassment for trying to turn Crawford speak into English. So in closing, we get back to one of the very first things we were all sort of really confused and upset about is that there is nothing anymore. Your character is a great green glob of goop, and you can call yourself whatever you want and pick and choose whatever advantages and disadvantages you want. And then you pick your background to get what stats you want. And then you come out and you're just sort of a green glob of goop that kind of maybe sort of looks like a half elf, half carrot. I don't know. I seriously doubt I've made this any clearer. I've probably muddled the waters even more. But, I got to do my due diligence and go through these things and go, okay, well, here's what Crawford said, but this is, I think, what he meant. And in trying to make it better, of course, he made it worse. And really, at this point, they should just not let him out anymore. They should just, somebody better. Oh, wait, we had an example of that over the week, and we can see that that didn't work. I think at this point, Wizards of the Coast needs to hire out and get people who actually know how to talk to other people without causing riots. I would love to tell you this is the end of the things we're going to talk about coming out of the D&D conference, but you and I both know it's not. There's going to be something else. But hopefully that's it for today. So, yeah, I think I've wasted way too much time on this topic, and hopefully I never have to bring it up again until Crawford says something else, of course. Anyways, that's it. That's 15 minutes wasted of your time. I hope you appreciate me taking the blow for you so you don't have to dig through this nonsense. If you do, maybe, I don't know, toss me a subscription if you haven't yet. Or sign up for my Patreon, because apparently I have a Patreon now, and I'm going to be that's probably the best way to get the merch going further until I figure out how to do Patreon. It's going to be that kind of day. So see you later. Stay off my land, damn kids, damn dog.